The air hung heavy with the scent of jasmine, a stark contrast to the sterile smell of the clinic. Maya clutched her mother's hand, her heart a drum against her ribs. At 16, the weight of the decision felt immense, the future balanced on the edge of a choice. Her life, until this point, had been a tapestry woven by others. Now she held the needle, ready to embroider her own design. Growing up in a rural village in India, Maya had witnessed the cycle of life unfold with relentless predictability. Early marriage, followed by a cascade of pregnancies, was the norm. Education, dreams, aspirations, all often sacrificed at the altar of societal expectations. The doctor, a woman with eyes that held the wisdom of 1,000 stories, spoke softly, explaining the options. The decision, she emphasized, rested solely with Maya. The world of birth control, Sarah discovered, was a labyrinth of options, each with its own set of promises and caveats. Pills, patches, rings, the sheer variety was overwhelming. The internet, a double-edged sword, offered a deluge of information, often contradictory and anxiety-inducing. Sarah, a meticulous researcher, found herself lost in a sea of medical jargon and user reviews. Her friends, though well-intentioned, offered advice that was more anecdotal than factual. Myths and misconceptions swirled around her, adding to the confusion. Seeking clarity, Sarah scheduled an appointment with her gynecologist. The doctor, patient and understanding, listened attentively as Sarah voiced her concerns and anxieties. She demystified the science behind each method, explaining the risks and benefits in simple, understandable terms. The consultation was a turning point, replacing fear with knowledge, confusion with clarity. Armed with accurate information and a newfound understanding of her own body, Sarah felt empowered to make an informed choice.
The silence surrounding birth control, Maria observed, was often deafening. In her community, it remained a taboo topic, shrouded in shame and secrecy. Whispers of judgment and misinformation circulated in hushed tones, perpetuating a culture of fear and ignorance. Access to accurate information was limited, leaving many women vulnerable to unplanned pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections. Maria, a young teacher, witnessed firsthand the impact of this silence. Her students, brimming with curiosity yet starved of information, often resorted to unreliable sources for answers. The consequences were stark teenage pregnancies, unsafe abortions, and a pervasive sense of fear surrounding their own bodies. Driven by a sense of responsibility and a deep-seated belief in empowering her students, Maria decided to break the silence. She approached the school principal with a proposal to incorporate age-appropriate sex education into the curriculum. The proposal was met with resistance, a reflection of the deeply ingrained societal norms. Undeterred, Maria persisted, her voice gaining strength with each conversation. Slowly, she began to chip away at the wall of silence.
The narrative surrounding birth control, often fixated on preventing pregnancy, overlooked the multifaceted nature of these interventions. For many women, like Chloe, birth control was not just a contraceptive, but a lifeline, a way to manage debilitating medical conditions. Diagnosed with endometriosis at a young age, Chloe's life had become a cycle of excruciating pain and unpredictable bleeding. The pain, sharp and relentless, permeated every aspect of her life, disrupting her studies, her social life, and her sense of self. Chloe felt trapped in her own body, her dreams and aspirations held hostage by a condition that seemed to have no cure. It was her gynecologist who suggested hormonal birth control as a way to manage the symptoms of endometriosis. The idea, initially met with skepticism, soon proved to be life-changing. The hormonal therapy, tailored to Chloe's specific needs, helped regulate her menstrual cycle, significantly reducing the severity and frequency of her pain. Chloe could finally envision a future free from the debilitating grip of endometriosis.
Every day, Dr. Anya Sharma reflected, I witnessed the transformative power of informed choice. As an OB/GYN practicing in a bustling urban clinic, she had dedicated her career to empowering women with knowledge and resources to make decisions about their reproductive health. The stories she encountered were as diverse as the patients themselves, each a testament to the complex interplay of personal beliefs, societal pressures, and medical realities. There was the young professional juggling a demanding career and a desire to start a family, seeking guidance on fertility awareness methods. The single mother determined to provide for her children, relying on long-acting reversible contraception to pursue her education. The teenager grappling with questions of identity and intimacy, seeking information about safe sex practices and STI prevention. Dr. Sharma understood that the decision to use birth control and which method to choose was deeply personal, influenced by a myriad of factors. Her role, she believed, was not to dictate but to educate, to provide a safe and non-judgmental space for her patients to explore their options, address their concerns, and make choices that aligned with their individual needs and aspirations. It's about meeting each woman where she is, Dr. Sharma mused, listening to her story, understanding her circumstances, and empowering her with the knowledge to make the best decision for herself. It was this patient-centered approach, rooted in empathy and respect, that formed the cornerstone of her practice.
The fight for reproductive rights, however, extended far beyond the walls of clinics and doctors' offices. It was a battle waged on the streets, in courtrooms, and in the halls of government. Access to affordable birth control, Sarah knew, was a privilege often denied to the most vulnerable populations. Socioeconomic disparities, discriminatory policies, and systemic barriers created a chasm in access, disproportionately impacting marginalized communities. The statistics painted a stark picture. Women living below the poverty line, often lacking access to healthcare and facing transportation barriers, were more likely to experience unintended pregnancies. Communities of color, historically subjected to systemic racism and medical bias, faced higher rates of maternal mortality and morbidity. The fight for reproductive justice, Sarah realized, was intricately linked to the fight for social justice. She joined forces with local activists and community organizers, her voice adding to the chorus demanding change. They organized rallies, lobbied lawmakers, and challenged policies that restricted access to essential healthcare services. The fight was arduous, met with resistance from those who sought to control women's bodies and limit their choices.
The freedom to choose, however, often came at a price. For many women, the financial burden of birth control posed a significant barrier. The cost of consultations, prescriptions, and follow-up appointments added up, creating a financial strain that forced many to make difficult choices. The lack of comprehensive insurance coverage for reproductive healthcare services exacerbated the problem, leaving countless women with limited options. Jessica, a single mother working 2 jobs to make ends meet, knew this struggle all too well. The cost of her monthly contraceptive injections, though significantly cheaper than raising another child, still put a dent in her already tight budget. She often found herself sacrificing other essentials, groceries, transportation, even rent, to ensure she could afford her medication. The stress of juggling work, childcare, and the constant worry of unexpected expenses took a toll on Jessica's physical and emotional well-being.
Despite the challenges, a sense of hope permeated the air. Across the globe, a new generation was rising, more informed, empowered, and determined to claim their reproductive rights. The internet, once a source of misinformation, had become a powerful tool for education and advocacy. Online communities provided safe spaces for women to share their experiences, access accurate information, and find support. The conversation surrounding birth control was evolving, moving beyond the narrow confines of pregnancy prevention to encompass the broader spectrum of reproductive health and well-being. Menstrual health, once a taboo topic, was gaining mainstream attention, with initiatives aimed at destigmatizing periods and promoting access to menstrual hygiene products. The movement for reproductive justice was gaining momentum, fueled by the collective power of individuals, organizations, and policymakers working towards a common goal. A world where every person had the right to make informed decisions about their own bodies and futures. The path ahead was still long and winding, but the strides made were undeniable.
The stories shared, though diverse in their experiences, echoed a common thread: the power of owning one's narrative. It was about reclaiming the language surrounding reproductive health, moving away from shame and stigma towards openness and acceptance. It was about creating spaces where women could speak their truths, share their struggles, and celebrate their victories without fear of judgment. It was about recognizing that the journey of reproductive health was not a solitary one, but a collective experience, woven into the fabric of families, communities, and societies. It was about men standing in solidarity with women, challenging harmful gender norms, and advocating for policies that promoted equality and bodily autonomy. It was about shifting the narrative from one of control and coercion to one of empowerment and agency. The journey of birth control, like life itself, is a tapestry woven from threads of choice, circumstance, and consequence. It is a story that transcends borders, cultures, and generations, reflecting the universal desire for agency, for the power to shape one's own destiny. It is a story that reminds us that while the right to choose is paramount, it is meaningless without access, without accurate information, and without the freedom to make decisions that align with our own values and aspirations. As we move forward, let us remember that the fight for reproductive rights is not a battle fought on a single front, but a multifaceted movement that demands intersectional solutions. It is a fight for social justice, for economic equality, for quality healthcare, and for the fundamental right of every individual to bodily autonomy. It is a fight that requires empathy, understanding, and a willingness to listen to and learn from the experiences of others.